So, welcome back to the cult. We're going to be talking today about Speakeasy. I'm quite curious to understand how it works, to be honest with you. So, Kirk, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into the project.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and appreciate everybody showing up to learn a little bit more about the Speakeasy project. I am the team lead on the Speakeasy project. My background as far as crypto is concerned is I've been involved in crypto for about 5 years now, but in DeFi only about 2. I was just buying tokens and stuff like that before that. One of the projects that I got into almost my first DeFi project is a project called EMP.money, which some of you may be familiar with.
A little.
Yeah, and it just so happens that, in my view, everybody has their own opinions, right? In my view, it's one of the best protocols, certainly on BSC, and maybe in DeFi in general. And I became very involved with the project. I am not an official team member of the EMP project, but I am what's called an army member, which is a small group of people who basically consult on the project. And then I was also tasked to create a learning management platform for the protocol because it's fairly sophisticated. It's a seigniorage project based on a Tomb fork, although it's way past that now. And anyway, I created and continue to run the EMP Academy, which is a learning academy for the protocol. It has about 1,300 learners in it currently. So I continue to do that. And I've worked very closely with AJ Brockman, who is the team lead at EMP, both on that and just on things related to EMP in general. And as you will see when we go through the Speakeasy project, there is a very strong connection to EMP, and that's by design. So that's a little bit of my background, my personal background. In terms of creating Speakeasy, Speakeasy is what I would call a soft fork now because it's quite different, but it is a fork of the Frost Flakes project, which some of you may be familiar with, devved by Jack T. I came into that project. I found that project just as an investor about halfway through its run. It ran for about 7 months. I came in at month 3 or month 4. And I really liked what they were doing, what he was doing with Frost Flakes, because it was basically a traditional miner / ROI dApp. But he had this unique mechanic where he was going out and investing some of the assets from the protocol into PCS farms, and he also had some bots that he was using to generate outside revenue to try to come in and extend the life of what is, a more traditional miner. And I really liked that. I really connected with that concept, and he did very well with it. I think the project was very successful. And so anyway, I came into the project and I DM'd him privately and asked him some questions, told him who I was. And my initial shill was to try to get him to put some of the money that he was investing into PCS farms and such into the EMP protocol, because I felt like it would provide a good and safe return for what he was trying to do. He was super interested in it, but it was kind of midway through the project and he had already sort of committed to a path. And so we never got there in terms of him actually doing that. However, when Frost Flakes started to wrap up, I reached back out to him and I said, I'm convinced that this is a good idea. And I've also got some other mechanics that I think would work really great. Would you have any interest in working with me on creating a new version of this with all of my ideas and whatever you've learned from Frost Flakes? And he said yes. And that was the beginnings of Speakeasy, and that was late last year. So we worked together on the contract. He changed a lot of it based on what he learned running Frost Flakes, and then I brought in a bunch of other mechanics that have mostly to do with NFTs. And so that's what Speakeasy is, which is it doesn't really, it's not really a miner anymore. I call it a weekly ROI DApp. It's much more like an ROI contract than a miner. And we can get into the specifics there, but that is how the project has come about. We started a community here on Telegram, which was mostly people that were involved in Frostflakes, and they were very excited to see that there was another project coming from Jack. And so we fired up a community here on Telegram that really took off, and we just haven't been looking back since then.
That's beautiful. So why don't you walk us through the basics of Speakeasy?
Okay, well, I'd be glad to. I've got a little screen share going here. Hopefully everybody can see it. I'm just going to do some slides to it. So first, let me talk about the Speakeasy protocol at 35,000 feet, if you will. Basically, the protocol works like this. If you come into Speakeasy and want to just bring assets into the protocol, first of all, it's BNB in, BNB out. There is no native token in Speakeasy. Everything is BNB. So if you want to come in and just put some money into Speakeasy, that's what we call a guest. And the daily percentage is 0.25. So anybody can come in. They don't have to get involved with NFTs. They don't have to do anything, but they can earn 0.25. Of course, that's really, the basic entry level. It doesn't allow you to do anything else with the protocol, but, it's there, and it's, it's a decent return that we can provide. The first level of coming into the project as a member is to acquire what we call a membership key card, which is an NFT. This membership key card NFT costs 0.25 BNB, so about $60 today's value. So what do you get for that? Basically, what you're doing, what all of our NFTs do, instead of returning actual awards or rewards, because we don't have a token per se, what they do is they boost your daily APR rate based on which ones you have. So as an example, the Speakeasy membership MKC NFT, you purchase that and hold that in your wallet, and that automatically takes that base 0.25% and doubles it to 0.50%. So then that becomes your new daily, as long as you're holding that NFT in the same wallet that you are making your deposits into. So basically then what happens from there is we have the next level of NFTs, which we call cocktail NFTs. There's a series of 6 of them, and each one's a different cocktail, and each one has a different bonus that gets stacked on top of your NKC bonus. And they range from the low of another 0.25 to the high of a full 1%, depending on which cocktail you get. And we're doing the live mint of these cocktail NFTs on Monday. It'll last for 48 hours, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute. But so bottom line, between these 2 NFTs, you can buy up your rate in effect up to as much as 1.5 a day. And so what we're doing, the average will probably come out to, because again, the way the rarities work, which I'll talk about later, not everybody, of course, is going to get to 1.5. So on average, we think it's going to be about 1.0, which is something that we feel we can try and sustain. One of the issues, well, there's a couple of issues, right, with these types of projects. The first thing that we want to do is not rug. That is our main charter, is to put a project together that can be trusted, and we aren't going anywhere. The second thing is to try to create a project where the most number of people in can ROI and beyond as possible. And how do you do that? That's all about sustainability, right? And this is the interesting thing about this project. The main way to create sustainability is through revenue generation, and we are all about that. And I will share with you in a moment, when we get there, what we've already done. Even though we're still 2 weeks away from our launch, we are already actively investing and already earning money for people who aren't even in the protocol yet. So basically what happens is the mechanic is that 50% of the money that is deposited into the contract goes into the pot, which pays back the rewards. The other half goes into the bank, which is a second wallet, and that wallet is investing those funds into the EMP protocol. Now, all of the money from NFT sales is divvied up in a way that goes straight into the bank and then is divvied up from there. So that money also is going towards generating revenues. And the thing that is, really important to understand is that because our NFTs don't pay out directly, they pay out indirectly by bonusing the rates you're earning. That income that we generate from those NFTs is 100% belongs to the protocol. So the protocol can invest that money and not pay it back directly, pays it back indirectly via your boosted rate and what you put into the project. So at that point, basically, this is the overall cycle of it in terms of how it works. It is like I mentioned at the top, it's a weekly or 168 hours protocol to where every 168 hours it unlocks, and you can then at that point claim your rewards straight out into your wallet in BNB, or you can redeposit them if you'd like. So you only have to interact with the contract once a week, not every day. And you don't have to worry about compounding or auto compounding or any of those kinds of things. So I'll stop there because that's a lot to begin with, unless you want me to keep going, and then I will show you the next level.
Yeah, please keep going. I'm noting my questions. I'll go back to them.
Okay, great. So this is a recap of what I was just explaining to you. So again, there are 3 levels of entry into the Speakeasy protocol. The first one is no NFTs, Speakeasy guest, 0.25. The next level is to go ahead and become a member of Speakeasy by buying the membership NFT, and that gives you another 0.25 boost, totaling 0.50. The other thing that it does for you is it gives you the opportunity to participate in other things that we'll be doing, like this cocktail mint. You have to have a membership key card to be involved with any of the promotions and anything that we're going to be doing downstream. The first one is this cocktail NFT. And so as you can see, here are the 6 that I mentioned, going from the gin and tonic, which is a 0.25 bonus, through the margarita, 0.35, Bloody Mary, 0.5, pina colada.
Is there any rarities involved?
Yes, there are rarities. They go from, I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But yes, each one has, I'll post a graphic that has them on it, but each one has a rarity, and of course, as the percentage bonus gets higher, so the rarity also is affected by that. I think the old fashioned, which is the highest, has a 10% mint chance, and the gin and tonic, which is the lowest, has a 25% mint chance. And those mints, when you do these mints, it's a unique random mint, meaning that it is those rarities are not affected by previous mints. So in other words, when you come in to mint your cocktail NFT, it doesn't matter what other cocktail NFTs have been minted. You get that straight rarity mix for your mint. So it doesn't matter if we just randomly happen to be minting a lot of old fashions, that does not going to affect your ability to also mint one. So you have a unique setup when you come into mint. And so again, there at the bottom, as you can see, we're talking about the boost range is from a low of 0.25 to a high of 1.0. So the final daily range will be 0.75 to 1.5 if you have both the MKC and a cocktail NFT. Now, I'd also mentioned that these cocktail NFTs, there's a limited run of them, of 2,000 of them. We've already minted 120 of them in a special promotion, so there'll be 1,880 of them available over the 48-hour period. If we mint out, then that's it. If we don't mint out in the 48-hour period of time, then whatever we did not mint will be burned, and that will be the number of cocktails that exist, period. And you will not be able to get these cocktail NFTs any other way. So that opens up an opportunity on the secondary market, potentially, for people to sell their cocktail NFTs on the market, because you won't be able to get these specific ones at these specific boosts any other way once the mint is done. So,
are you going to have your own marketplace, or are you using an existing one?
We're using an existing one. I mean, you can technically do it anywhere. We're using NF Trade, or we're recommending NF Trade, but no, we're not doing our own native marketplace.
Okay. What's daylight?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, let me just move on and tell you what we've been up to so far. Yes. So as I mentioned in the open there, our primary source, well, we have two main sources of revenue generation that are going back in the contract to pay rewards to everybody. The first one is the sale of these NFTs.
Okay.
And so that is, a huge profit center, if you will, for the protocol, which the protocol can then use, A, to invest and earn more rewards, and B, then bring back to pay all that earnings back out to the members.
As of right now, is it just the plan to keep funding, putting money into EMP pools, or do you have plans to expand that?
Well, we don't have hard plans to expand it. We're looking at some other things, potentially. We don't want to get too far spread out, but obviously we've had several people already come to us with other protocols, Elephant being one of them, and a couple others. I don't know. The honest question is, at this point, I haven't made any decisions about another protocol other than EMP, because I know EMP so well. I don't think that we will do that, certainly until after we've launched and we can kind of get a sense of where the protocol is going and, and what people are looking for. So short answer, no, but not a final answer. No, for sure. So let's talk about the EMP part of it. Again, I know what I was saying. I was saying the revenue streams. First is the sale of these NFTs. The second is our revenue gen and that we're earning rewards through the EMP ecosystem. Now, we've had already, even though, again, we are still at pre-launch, we have had some preliminary sales of our membership NFT, the MKC, and one small promotion with our cocktail NFTs. So we have already generated income coming into the protocol even prior to launch. And let's take a look at what we're doing with that. This is a screen showing what our position currently is in EMP. There's a lot of different parts to it, and I'm not going to go through trying to explain to everybody the entire EMP ecosystem. But what you see here are, on the left, the liquidity pools, our farms. These are 100% liquid, and we are currently earning the dailies that you see down there below. And so we have about $16,000 already committed to these farms. Again, these farms are completely liquid. We can take these assets out at any time. And all of this money is 100% earmarked towards paying back rewards at some point. What we're doing now is trying to build our war chest and earn as much as we can off this safely, to pay back rewards to members of Speakeasy. So we're already ahead of the game. We're a protocol that hasn't launched yet, that has ultimately about $30,000 already invested, and earning rewards for members that haven't even joined yet. And that is not including our cocktail NFT sale that's happening on Monday. So,
yeah, and most of those funds will go towards being reinvested again, right?
Absolutely.
And are you dedicating, I know some protocols, are you dedicating any of the daily revenues towards going into that pool as well?
What we're doing, the way the current farm situation works is, if you look at the farm, the larger one, the EMP ETH farm, which is, by the way, just so people understand, This is an LP that's being put into this pool. So it is 50% the native EMP token, which is pegged to Ethereum, and it's Ethereum. So in essence, all of this, half of all of this money that you're seeing here, that 15,000, is in Ethereum. So we're also exposed to what I believe is going to be significant price appreciation over the next year in the Ethereum token. So we're invested in Ethereum as well in this project. But what pays out here is what they call eShare. So what we're doing is we're putting the majority of the money into the EMP ETH liquidity pool, and we're earning eShare. We're then taking that eShare and moving it over to the farm that you see on the right there, which is an eShare farm, meaning you put your eShare in there, it's locked for 21 days, and you earn more eShare. Then when that eShare comes out, we're putting that into we're just basically putting that in the bank in a PCS farm that is an LP of BUSD and Bitcoin. And that's just going to sit there and earn cake that will just refarm into that until we need it. So again, the runway that we're building up here is substantial. How long? Who knows? But it's substantial. It's months of time that we will be able to continue to do this before we would ever need to even consider taking the rewards out, let alone the principal. And the larger we build this up, the more time that represents. So those are the farms. We are also involved in their node program, which is different than most nodes, but just a way of generating revenue. It's not we don't have a huge position there. Same thing with the up EMP. And then we finally also have a DEX vault. For those who are familiar with DEX vault, we have a DEX vault now with a small, right now we only have about $1,000 in there position. And our DEX vault is made up of some EMP ETH LP as well, along with the native DEX vault token. So we have that now, but that's not all. Not done.
That's not all. I like that.
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
You make me. It evokes memories of Apple. One more thing.
Totally. EMP also has their own DOS. They call them DOS contracts. They're daily ROI contracts that are locked TVL contracts. There are two of them that they have, and there are two more that are run by other protocols. But the two that are run by EMP are called Detonator and Reactor. Detonator runs on the EMP LP, and Reactor runs on eShare BNB LP. We have to take. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm ashamed to say I don't know what those are, but
yeah. Detonator is great, and it's basically a gamified ROI contract where there's a couple $1 million in locked liquidity in both of these. It's fantastic. And basically, the short version of it is every day it runs on a 24-hour cycle. And every day before the clock runs down, you have to claim your daily rewards. And then every day, one lottery winner is picked. And then also the person who deposited the most amount in that 24-hour period also wins a prize. And they are substantial prizes. So we went in. Right now is an excellent time to get in because obviously the market is down, and we were able to win the largest deposit prize for both of these contracts. So what you're seeing here is in Detonator, as an example, we allocated $2,400 to try to win that, and we did, and that earned us about $7,500 for winning that prize. So as you can see in Detonator now, we have as if we had deposited $10,000 with a possible payout of $36,900 currently. These are all based on today's prices. And same thing in Reactor. In Reactor, we won as well and won another $7,500, and we have $8,500 in there. So between these two, as long as these contracts run, we will be earning up till about $67,000, but it'll be more than that because we compound this as well. So without getting into a lot of the specifics, we have, and the Reactor one, we only had to put in about $1,000 to get it. So we got about $3,500 invested in these two contracts that while we can't take it out because it's locked, we have substantial earning power over these next months to get that and well beyond. So we also have this position. We're not going to be doing much more. We were targeted to try to win the daily snipe, they call it, and then pull out because we don't want to invest too much money in something that we can't take it out of. So even though the daily rewards and such are really good, I wanted to be pretty conservative with that, but we have that as well. So that's our complete position in EMP currently as of today. So in today's dollars, we have about $38,000 invested in all of the various things in EMP.
And you haven't even launched yet.
And I haven't even launched yet. And about 20,000 of that is fully liquid. And all of this is protocol owned, which means anybody that's involved. These funds are 100% earmarked to be paid back in the protocol. Period. There's no distribution to team or anything at this point. This is all money that's in. And we expect to be at least double this, if not more, in a couple of days after we run our cocktail mint. So by the time we launch on March 4th, we will be a protocol that is just starting out on day one with a substantial amount of money behind us and a substantial time runway to continue to earn more because we can pay our rewards out from the other half that we're keeping in the contract, that we're not taking out of that pool at all. That will pay rewards for quite some time before we even have to think about bringing money back into it. So
what you're saying is you have a project that's already making money as opposed to the other projects that need to start and figure out how to make money.
Right. Yeah. We're putting more money where our mouth is. And so are our members by having the faith and trust in us to buy these NFTs. And that's given us the ability to do this.
You sound like a drug dealer, sir.
Well, I don't know about that.
You sound like a drug dealer because I feel like what's that meme where I'm just minding my business and then something over there is like, hey, come look at this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I won't be insulted, but
it's not meant to. It's not meant to. Well, if you're insulted, that's up to you. But it wasn't meant as such.
That's not what your attitude is about drugs, I guess. But yeah, I'm very excited about the project and the protocol, and maybe that comes through. And I think that we've had a lot of interest on the EMP side. We've got a lot of people coming over now and going to invest that are investors in EMP. AJ, the team lead at EMP, is one of them. Who's personally putting money into this project as well. So I'm just really excited about what we've been able to do in such a short time. And a lot of it based on, Jack as a dev and the love that the community has for him has gone a huge distance in us being able to gain the trust of the community that we have so far. So to wrap up the presentation part of this, these are the key highlights to take away. We don't have a native token. Again, we're BNB in, BNB out. That's on purpose. Native tokens are very hard to support. And so we don't want to have to do that. So we're dealing in BNB with everything. We have what I call real world. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. I really like it. It sounds like you actually, spent a lot of time thinking about all these mechanics.
A lot of time, actually, yeah. We have real world daily averages. What do I mean by real world? I think as well as your community knows that, we have a 1.5% cap, which is aggressive in my opinion. Anything that's 2% and more daily is just so hard to sustain. And again, I have nothing wrong. I have nothing against these projects that come out with 2, 3, 5, 8, whatever that is, but you just have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And if there's no external revenue source for those projects, then they are what they are. The money has to come from somewhere. And, mostly those are the projects where the first in do well and the last in do not do well. And so one of the things we're trying to do here is make a project that can sustain. The Crossways project that I mentioned that this was initially based on with Jack, that lasted 7 months, which is a long time actually for a project like that. We think we'll go. Yeah, we think we'll go well over that. So a year plus, who knows? Maybe we can reach this total sustainability. I don't want to promise that to anybody, but, we're certainly going to be a lot further down that road than a lot of other projects that, like you said, have zero to begin with and are only working with the deposits that they're taking in on day one.
Yeah. Since you've done so much research, I kind of feel comfortable asking you this. What do you think, based on what you've looked at and done, what do you think could be like a monkey wrench for you guys? And
well, it's a good question. Obviously, with any type of contract like this, your biggest concern is, I think, is whales and how people may that are coming in the contract heavy. Can they exploit the contract and drain the contract balance? That's probably the number one concern, I think, when you have this type of a project, because we don't have to worry about a token. So, I don't think BNB is going anywhere. So that's what you have to look at. And we have put in, it's the 2 points down, the max weekly claim and max wallet controls that we have help that substantially. And what are those? You can only claim 2 BNB a week. That's the max that you can claim out of the contract. And in any given wallet, you can only put in up to 20 BNB. So that's a max lifetime on any given wallet of potentially 60 BNB because we have a 3x max cap. So the main way we're trying to control that scenario is through stretching this out with the maxes that we have. For the average person that's coming in that isn't putting in 20 BNB, this isn't going to affect them at all. It just affects people who are dealing, at a whale level and such that are looking for ways to potentially, drain the contract early. And so we have these controls in place to do that. I think that, other than that, I think, the other pitfall or concern is, over time, can we continue with the sustainability? Can we continue? Because again, I'm not saying that, it's funny. Some people talk about how we were just talking about it in a chat room earlier about this whole idea where some people come along and they use this word Ponzi-nomics when they're talking about DeFi projects, right? And it's really not the correct term because Ponzi-nomics implies malintent. It implies that you are taking money from one person and giving it to another person, knowing that you're never going to give it back to the original person, that you're defrauding someone. Now, I'm not saying that these contracts that promise this, that are doing that. You know what you're doing. Ultimately, you're the one pushing the buttons, and you have to understand what you're getting into in any DeFi contract. Now, a rug is completely different. That's just stealing. But nonetheless, even with that said, so the point I'm trying to make is that every project needs fresh capital. Every business needs fresh capital. It doesn't have to be a crypto project. So it's not something where you should be ashamed by saying, yes, part of our plan is to continue to bring in new investors. Of course it is. Any business is that way. So will we have to rely on that to some degree? Of course. So the question is, can we do it? Can we keep interest in the project when it's not young anymore and it's not the latest thing coming out? Can we still get people to come in and believe in the project? Those are probably the two that I see as being the most concerning.
Yeah, and based on the fact that it's going to keep generating income no matter what you kind of do as a protocol, that kind of seems like it would help that outcome.
Well, that's the theory, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, we're trying to build ourselves an
I
advantage.
mean, even honestly, even if it's not like 5,000% interest a year, it's still continued income, and that's 1,000% better than the majority of the projects that are
I couldn't
out
agree with you
there.
more. I mean, my whole attitude is, I've had a couple of people go, well, why so low? Why 2.5 to start? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
I
because
give me reliable, slow and low any day.
exactly
As long
right.
if I know that tomorrow I'm gonna have this, and the next day I'm gonna have that, next day I'm gonna have that, my wife likes me so much better, so much better,
I totally
so much.
get it.
She
I
likes
totally get it.
me.
And the other thing, the reality is if you can find a project that's sustainable
Mhm.
and get that kind of money, I mean, that's just light years better than anything you can do in the real world.
And
Um,
if I can have 20 of you guys,
Yeah, that's right. So what we're trying to do is to create a project like that that provides the passive income, if you will, at a reasonable rate of return that we can conceivably meet and take it from there. And again, it is much more passive too, in the sense that you only interact with this contract once a week. So it's important that you remember when your weekly rollover is, but beyond that, you can go and live your life, put your money in and live your life. You don't have to sit and watch it every second.
I know you covered this a little bit already, but I'm just curious. Any thoughts of investing this in real life businesses?
It's funny. Somebody today just sent me a message about, I haven't even looked at it yet, a company that is doing something like that, that you can invest in real life businesses and then the payment comes back in crypto.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's a missing link in all these projects, because I imagine, imagine you raise some of these projects that are raising $2 million, right?
yeah.
Uh, Imagine they go buy a freaking apartment complex.
Yeah. It's
These
interesting,
things,
man.
these things that people don't think about. It's not sexy. An apartment complex isn't gonna be. It's not something that you're gonna like become rich the next day. But
Right.
Jesus, that's
I
income for the
think
next 20 years.
Yeah, it's really an interesting concept. And I think what needs to happen, in my opinion anyway, I mean, DeFi is in its infancy, right? I mean, and, we're still trying to figure it all out. And I think it's important that people remember that. I mean, this is not a hugely, established thing. We build a protocol, and those of us who are truly proponents of DeFi and aren't just trying to steal from people, we build a protocol, we learn from it, then we build the next protocol, and hopefully they get better and better as you go along. And I think that what you're talking about in terms of starting to marry the real world with
I
the
think it's the
crypto
way.
space is going to happen eventually. But we need to get through this period of where every other project, it seems like sometimes, is rugging, and then there's not the trust there that would need to be there to allow for people to take that money and move it outside into the real world and back.
I
I think
have
it's
a
one of the we need to get over.
I have a theory that most of the rugs. It's not popular opinion, but I have a theory that most of the rugs that are happening in the space is because the devs aren't getting paid enough. Because people I think people look at taxes, dev taxes and all that stuff, and they're like, oh, they're stealing from me. They're stealing from me. But what I mean, imagine starting a company in the real world and not being the one that benefits the most from it. That's silly, wouldn't it? I mean, if you put in all that work, of course you should get the benefit. And I want devs to get rich off the projects they do. I want them to have a vested interest. I want them to be like, oh, I got to make this work because it's all I got. I want that. And
Yeah,
it's silly. I don't like the mentality where people, I'm not saying like, your dev fee should be 20 freaking percent. God damn, that's a little silly, but it should be more reasonable and it should be less stigmatized, you know, in our
interesting. Really?
this
Yeah.
little corner of ours. Because I imagine were I a dev and I created a project and it was going great, and it's going to keep going great as long as I keep going to work as perpetual money. Why in the hell would I rug when I have a guaranteed thing? And I think a lot of these, perhaps it's because these rooms are so full of emotion, even though we're mostly adults, but the smallest amount of FUD will make people just dump. And I see so many devs making beautiful things out there, and the community is just like, when Moon, when Lambo, when this, when that, and it's just, of course, these guys are gonna rug at the earliest sign they see, because they're like, oh, there's this money here, and these guys are being assholes.
No,
I'm not blaming the community or anything like that, but I think it's something that we need to evolve from, in this little thing of ours that we're doing, because we want these people to get paid, because that's what incentivizes them to make better things, to keep going. It's not, right now we just have I think we have too many churners out there, people that are just teams that are just like, okay, let's make this project. It doesn't work. Let's make this project. It doesn't work. And it's just rinse, wash, and repeat, instead of, picking something hard and doing it right, and having the community actually support you and stick through it. And it's silly. I know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Your perspective is really interesting about the rugs. And I don't know that I've ever really thought about it from that perspective. I'm sure, though, that you're right, that there is a percentage of it that is that. And you're definitely right in your theory about the devs, in terms of compensation and how, that is viewed. I think it's interesting because I think that both devs and team leads like myself and stuff like that, I think that people, especially if you're somebody who's a quote unquote good actor who really does care about what they're doing, it's an insane amount of work. Yeah,
I've seen devs that literally are on camera sleeping on sleep on camera, and it makes the community happy. And it's like, okay, cool, but I mean, this guy is sitting at his desk, and in this industry, especially devs, I know that these guys are at their desk like legit 14, 15 hours or more a day. Just like that little meme I post where you just from bed to computer, it's what they're doing. And of course they should get paid.
Right. So, yes. And I think that, anybody that's involved in that, again, if it's a good protocol and it's something that is worthwhile, these people are killing themselves to get it done, because usually these teams are fairly small. And, and there's a lot riding on it. And if you're, not just a flat out crook, right, sure, it's not your money, and, you didn't make the person push the button and all those kinds of things. But the reality is they did push the button on something that you put out there. And so you care about at least providing a quality product that has some chance of delivering on what you say it's going to try to do. And, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot. And so, again, is that a reason for devs to necessarily, like you said, come up with crazy, payout structures for their teams? No, but I don't think, on the flip side, I do agree with you that there seems to be like some feeling with some people that this is super easy and all you're doing is just throwing up a website and making a bunch of money. It's not like that.
No, it's not. This is the we have I when I first got into crypto, I heard it referred to as money Legos, and that's the best way I think I've ever been able to think about it, where crypto is this humongous freaking puzzle, and we have a humongous room of Legos, and everybody's trying to put them together in different ways to see what works. And we have no idea what the hell works yet. We're just starting.
Right.
And so many pieces so many of those, like it's like building those stupid Lego sets where if you miss one piece, you got to take the stupid thing apart and do it all over again. that's what crypto is. It's a bunch of money Legos that people are trying to put together, and I don't think anybody has gotten it just right yet, but a bunch of people have built great bases to start from. I think
Right.
that's and it's wonderful watching it evolve. And
I agree.
I just want there to be more incentives to keep building the puzzle as opposed to just trying to get your piece of the pie. If that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, I agree with that. I think, and I feel like, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like we're moving in that direction. That, I feel like from, let's say, a couple of years ago, that I'm seeing more people that are getting it and understanding that this needs to be a longer term play. That, just because you see a news story of somebody who made $8 million in Doge, they don't talk about the 100,000 people in Doge that lost. It's just exciting to tell the story of the guy who became a millionaire overnight. It's kind of like your Wen Lambo thing. I mean, that is not how it works in the real world for most everybody. But that doesn't mean you can't get ahead doing this. And it provides, this is, to me, DeFi is something that affords the opportunity for people, particularly in countries whose overall economic system isn't as developed, perhaps, as Western countries, to make a real impact. I know a guy who's involved in EMP who's in Argentina, and I don't know if you know anything about Argentina, but like the inflation rate in Argentina is insane.
It's a little out of control. I do know that.
It's insane, and he's able to make a decent income and provide for his family off DeFi. I mean, that's so cool.
That's the use case for DeFi.
Right. Yeah. So, and I think, like you're saying, I think as we go along, that we'll see more and more of that. But people need to stick with it. To your point, they need to, to hang.
I'm not saying I want to see more Richard Harts, with the Gucci bags and all that stuff. That's a little silly, but if you're doing this and you're doing good work, you shouldn't be worried about, money.
Right.
Agree. That's it. That's my only little rant about it. All right. So tell me, what do you think about the regulation? And I can just tell that you've thought about it already because you seem obsessive compulsive. Nothing personal.
So let me get this straight. I'm an obsessive compulsive drug dealer. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah. I get that vibe from you. Like I'm walking down the street. You're like, hey, try this. It's really good. And then I try it. It's really good. And you're like, oh crap, you do the best shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
To answer your question, regulation, I feel like it's inevitable. So, my only concern with it is I'm not a huge fan of any governmental institution per se. And for them to get it right, quote unquote, is what my concern about it is. It's not that is it going to happen or it's not going to happen. I think it will happen ultimately. But, will whatever happens, on purpose or not, create so much damage? Because it will create damage. I just think there's even the rumors of regulation create damage. So when it actually happens in who knows how long, I think that it's going to be another rough and tumble time for the DeFi and the crypto space as a whole. But they'll get through it. I mean, this, I just feel like there's nothing that's going to stop this, is my ultimate feeling. The genie is out of the bottle on this, and there will always be people finding creative ways to create this type of an online financial system. So it needs to be dealt with. Can it be effectively regulated? I think it probably could. But my biggest concern is I just don't know that the people in power really have the smarts to necessarily pull that off. But I guess we're going to see. Yeah.
It seems like for the life of me, I don't, it's been almost 2 decades now with this tech. I don't understand why it's not regulated already.
Yeah.
It's beyond me. It doesn't
I'll tell you.
seem, from a layman's perspective, it doesn't seem that complicated. We've had new industries before. We've had new commodities fields. You know, we did this in the 30s and 40s. We did this already. I don't get why this is so complicated. I don't get why.
Well, I don't think that it is complicated. I think that
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. It's a wealth distribution issue. Which is why my personal belief is, which may or may not be yours, or is that the crypto that's, I think, in the most trouble is stables, because I think that is going to be the first place where governments come in to create their own digital currency, their own digital dollars,
right?
And
that's competing with them directly.
That's competing with them directly. DeFi as a project like Speakeasy or any of these other projects, that's not what governments. Yeah, they don't care about that. But they do care about controlling money supply. And so, you know, a digital dollar, a digital franc, a digital EU or euro rather, you know, those are the areas where I think you're already seeing this a little bit with the FUD that was happening the other day with the Allen thing with the SEC with Circle. You know, just a rumor that might be happening, you know, created a lot of FUD, you know, over USDC. And so I think that, you know, that's going to be very interesting to see if Tether, USDC, you know, BUSD, all those stables can survive in that economy.
Well, thank you, sir, for your opinion on that. Let's walk back to the project a second and go over the taxes for me, sir.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Can you show it on screen as well? I have it on mine, but I can share it in the room.
Okay. I can find it. I don't have it up at the moment.
I do. Second, let me share it in the room. I always forget the little things I should ask first. I wish my mind worked more linearly. That would be so awesome. But yes, it's in the room if you could see it. New deposit 7%.
Oh, you mean actually in the channel? Oh, yeah. I can. Hold on one sec. Let me do this. There we go.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's run down the road. To understand the terminology, we'll start new deposit tax. That's your first initial deposit into the protocol. And that's a 7%. 5 of that 7 goes into the pot. So the pot is the contract that's actually paying rewards. So in essence, I don't know if you really even call that a tax, in the sense that 5% of that 7% is actually just going into the pot, which is ultimately going to pay you rewards anyway. But
deposit fee, I think, is more apt.
Yeah. And then we have a 2% staff. And then reinvestment, we pulled that down just a little bit, which basically is a compound, if you will, for other scenarios. So again, we don't do it daily. We do it weekly. So when the interface opens, when it opens up, you'll have whatever, let's say 1 BNB is your reward for that week. So you can choose to reinvest that 1 BNB. And it's an all or nothing thing, by the way. And if you do that right then and there, your reinvestment is less than a new deposit. And the breakout of pot and staff you see there, 3 and 2. If you decide to take it, the claim tax is 7%, 5 and 2. Again, the majority of these is always going just really back into the pot to pay more rewards. The only one that has a substantial difference in the way it's set up is there is no tax per se on the NFTs. There's just a distribution. And so 60% of all the sales of the NFTs go into the bank, which is the wallet that's investing in EMP and other things. And then 20%, this is the only place where we take money from marketing. This is all on purpose because none of our spending on marketing is coming out of quote unquote deposits, investor deposits. The the NFTs are a different thing that we don't have to pay back on. So that's why we're doing it that way, so that we're not taking any of your deposited funds and using them for marketing. I don't even know that we will necessarily use 20%, but that's just what we have earmarked at this point. And again, same thing with staff. This is where the bulk of staff funds come from for the same reason. We don't want to be taking the lion's share of what we're paying out to people working on the project out of your deposits. Yes, there's a small 2% on each one of these things, but that's pretty small. I know I saw when I was scrolling through the questions earlier, I saw somebody asking about that. And, again, the vast majority of any funds that are going out to staff are coming out of the NFTs and not out of your deposits. So that's really basically this tax structure.
I think anything below like 10% is more than fair.
Yeah, I don't see any issue. I don't have any issue with this as being fair.
I think this is. I think you guys should pay yourself more, but that's me. Like I said, I get happier the better I see somebody doing, especially if I'm in the same position as them, because it's like watching my future, kind of. I know that I have a small piece of what you have, and if I keep doing the right things, I can compound it. I can get to where you are. That's my mentality. Right. It's done.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Oh, I should mention, I forgot to mention, just so you can visualize this. So when your weekly timer ends and it unlocks, like I said, that is the time when you can claim or you can reinvest. That is also the time that you can add more in a new deposit. That's the only time. You can't just come up any time and deposit into this contract. You can only do it on your rollover time. So truly, once you hit that button and lock it down for the next week, you can't do anything. You walk away. I mean, you can sit there and look at it if you want, but you can't interact with it in any way, including making a deposit. Most contracts are not like that in the sense you can make a deposit anytime you want. But we don't do it that way. We want it to be once a week. You come up and you have a strategy, whether it's going to be, I'm going to claim 1 week and then I'm going to reinvest the other week, whatever your strategy might be, you do that. And it's just a series of 1 week contracts, basically, that you're doing with the overall protocol. In order to make your decisions. And also not financial advice, but, I'm a huge proponent of ROI. So I really feel that everybody that's interested in getting into this should definitely come up with a plan where they're taking some of this money and not reinvesting it 100%.
Perfect segue. Give me, let's say I have a BNB to invest. What would be, not financial advice, never that. Yeah. I'm really stupid. Please don't take advice from me. But give me like a complete,
like a one BNB. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me something. So what would you simple strategy?
If it was me, and I had one BNB to invest in this protocol, I would buy the membership MKC at 0.25 BNB, and I would deposit the other 0.75 BNB in the contract. I would not spend money on the cocktail because then you wouldn't have enough left to put in a deposit to really earn anything off of that. So I would just go for the 0.5, which is what you would get out of the MKC, go 0.5 a day and put 0.75 in and earn off of that. That's what I would do.
Fair enough. Okay. Another favorite question of mine. Dumb it down for me really, really simply. Give me, how would you tell somebody to go from fiat to completely invested? The simplest way you can do for me.
From fiat into Speakeasy? Yeah. I mean, the way I do it is pretty easy. I mean, if you're talking US dollars into, I use crypto.com, and I buy BNB on crypto.com, and then I just transfer it directly over to my wallet. And that's all you need for Speakeasy is BNB. So basically you would buy BNB on crypto.com or whatever it is that you use, and then you would transfer that to the wallet you want to use and then deposit it.
Can you show me a website? The dApp itself.
Not available yet.
Oh, is there pictures?
Let's see. I can show you.
I always like spoilers, man.
Okay. Well, you are getting me to do something. Let's see. The only problem is I don't want to give away the URL where it is. So
stop sharing and then
I can take a screenshot of it really quick.
Yeah, make sure you stop sharing first. I don't want to. Yeah, I definitely don't want to.
Yeah. I'll stop sharing.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so I'm not.
I want spoilers, but I don't want to ruin stuff.
No. I totally get it. But I can do a screenshot.
Let's play it. Let me go look. See. Did you see any other questions in the room that?
Honestly, I haven't had a chance to look. I've just been involved in my account. Okay. Let's see here.
It sounds like a Mac, sir.
Good. Look at you. Got that right on. Yes, I've always been a Mac guy.
Me too. I like things that just work without me having to fix it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
You guys in the room right now are killing me. These questions are so copy and paste and generic that I'm getting mad for you making me read it.
Okay. This is the main page. It's not complete, but you can get the idea. So basically, you have what we call the tab, which is all of your personal information, what your TVL is, what your current daily boost percentage is, and then here's where you're seeing your week-long 168-hour clock, and what, if any, cash out is available once this area here on the right, the first deposit, is completed. Again, when you first come into the protocol, you make this first deposit, and then from then on, it's the screen. This screen is different because you're just then re-interacting with the contract at that point. And then as you scroll down the page, there's this section of protocol performance. Again, these numbers are all fake. So you'll be able to see updated on a regular basis where we are with things. This is something that I'm, not just within the protocol, but also within the bank. What money have we got invested? Where is it? What is it doing? So you can see that on an ongoing basis as well. And then we'll also have news and promotions and things that are coming up, new with the contract there. So that's basically the short version of it.
I like it. Thank you for showing me that. I love dark interfaces, man. I wish every website was a dark mode. Any governance aspects to this?
No.
Any plans for that?
I don't know. I guess the answer right now is no. I don't have any per se. I think that, it's possible. The scenario of possibility would be maybe downstream if the protocol is super successful and super sustainable, and we decide we want to get into a lot of other protocols, then it might make sense to have some governance to try to figure out which those protocols are. But especially if they're protocols that, like me, as an example, don't know much about.
In my research for this, I had a couple conversations with people about this protocol, and I don't like governance functions. I don't like governance functions because I can tell you exactly what will happen. If the market goes down, the very first thing the community will vote for is to sell. Sell. Because we're too emotional. I'm sorry, we're too emotional. people that invest their money, especially most people that overinvest, they tend to be emotional. And when they can voice their opinion about protocol, it's usually, it's usually stuff that is panic related,
Right.
So I don't technically agree with stuff like that with governance protocols. I think if a company, if a team, a project has a great idea, there's a reason you invested in to begin with. So let the team do their thing.
Yeah, fair point.
That's it.
Fair
I'm
point.
sorry.
No. I think it's interesting, and like I said, probably for similar reasons. We don't have any specific plans to do it, but I try to just shy away from saying never on anything. But
I just think
probably
it's easier
not.
it's easier to resist doing unwise things when a million emotional people that overinvested are screaming at you, sell, sell, sell.
Yeah, that's true.
So public companies don't usually work that way. So I don't think crypto should. Okay, I've got a question from Ron. Yeah. What are the key use cases for this NFT, and how do you envision it being, even though you answered this already, kind of, how do you envision it being used in the future? Because the supply would be limited. Should I just buy as many NFTs as possible and hold them? And how many can I buy with one wallet on Monday?
Okay. A couple things to note that are important that come up with those questions. First of all, the answer is 2 cocktail NFTs per wallet.
That's the max?
That's the max per wallet.
Can you get around that by like sending wallet to wallet?
You can, but remember that the cocktail NFTs do not stack. So you cannot have 4 of them and get the bonus on all 4 of them. The way the contract works is no matter how many cocktail NFTs you have in your wallet, the contract automatically looks at all of them and only applies the largest of them. So you can have 2 NFTs applying to your bonus percentage, the MKC, which is 0.25, and then 1 cocktail, the largest cocktail. So you can't stack them. So you can't, and even if you could stack them, or a situation like that, we have a 1.5% cap. So even if you could stack them, if you went over 1.5, you wouldn't be getting credit for that. So you don't want to be buying multiple cocktails for that reason. The main reason to buy multiple cocktails is most people that I've talked to are going to buy a couple, usually 2, but some people are going to use more than 1 wallet. But and the reason is because these are minted at random, they're going to get 2 or 3, and they're going to keep the largest one for themselves. And then if they're going to run multiple wallets on the platform, then they'll take another one and put that one over in that wallet, or they're making sort of an arbitrage bet on selling them on the secondary market because they're not going to be available after this. So, if somebody comes up and doesn't know about Speakeasy today, but they find out about Speakeasy 2 weeks after we launch, then they're going to go, well, what's this cocktail NFT? I want an old fashioned. I want to boost well, we don't sell them as a protocol. So you're going to have to buy one off the secondary market. And so that's a benefit to the people who are holding them, obviously. So there's sort of a balance that's playing out there between making sure that we take care of people who buy them that may want to either get out of the protocol or, want to try to risk an arbitrage situation where they take some and hold them and resell them on the secondary. So this isn't to say that we're not going to do more cocktails in the future. We are. But we're not going to be doing another cocktail series anytime soon. So this will be it for at least a month or 2 after we launch. So that's again in a sense of fairness to the people who purchase them, to give them a good opportunity. And we will never sell them like that directly as a protocol. You will just continue to issue them. So that's why you would buy multiples, is either if you're going to have multiple wallets in the protocol, or you feel like you can make some money or make back what you spent on all your cocktails by selling one or two of them on the secondary market.
Okay, that's a good one. 1 second, I pinned one just so I pinned another question and now it's hiding from me. Telegram on the Mac is very annoying.
I think I saw somebody ask a question earlier too, since we're talking about this about the silver MKCs. I think somebody asked, does that imply that there's going to be a gold and a platinum or a bronze or?
Yeah. Well, he was saying. I just looked at that. He was saying, hold on. I'll go. I just pinned another one. What the heck is wrong with me? I already have one. I was getting. No, that's not it. What's wrong with me? Okay, you answered this already, but I still like the one part of it.
Sure.
I've known that if you mint a cocktail NFT, you will get a random mint. So is it possible to get two same NFTs in minting? Since the maximum mint is 2 per wallet, what can I do to get rid of my unwanted one? Can I sell it and be able to mint again? I think that the last part is what, if you sell, the last part is what I was curious about. If you sell, let's say I mint 2 and I sell one, can I go back and mint another one?
Yes, as long as that one isn't in your wallet anymore. You could technically sit there and buy 2, move one, buy another one. You can do that. We're not trying to stop you from necessarily doing this. We're just trying to make it clear that, if you're doing that, you're going to have to work at it a little bit, and you need to know that you're doing that for a specific reason, beyond just trying to get the best cocktail for yourself. But you can, and I know several people that I've talked to who are taking the strategy of this and saying, which is fine with me, saying, hey, I'm going to buy 2, and if I don't like either one of them, or if I like one, I'm going to sell the other one on the secondary for just slightly less than, and I'll take that little percentage hit and just get my money back from somebody else who wants to buy one. And I have no problem with that if that's what somebody wants to do. Obviously, it's their NFT. So the mint price of these, I don't know if I even mentioned it directly, but it's 0.5 BNB is the mint price for the cocktail NFTs. So if you bought one for 0.5 and you didn't like it, and you went over onto the secondary market and said, okay, I'm selling this Bloody Mary NFT for 0.49, you're probably going to get somebody to buy it who doesn't want to pay 0.5. We've had that happen with MKCs already. So, I think there are some avenues available to people to see some return on their NFTs if they're being speculative about it. But I can't guarantee it. You never know. I mean, after this mint is done, it could be that, we continue to get popularity and people are willing to pay well over 0.5 for one of these, especially the larger ones. Oh, and let me say this now, since I don't want to forget, we do have a referral program on this NFT mint, and it's pretty good.
Ask about that. Go on.
It's pretty good. So the way that that's going to work is, if you refer somebody, this is just for the NFT mint. If somebody uses your wallet address, and that's what the referral code is, when they buy their cocktail NFT, you get 0.1 BNB back. It's not a credit to your TVL. It's cash money in BNB, up to 5. So you can get 0.5 BNB, which is, of course, the same as it costs to have one. So you can basically earn yourself a free cocktail NFT if you have 5 people that use your referral code. So you can get 0.5. And, of course, that's also per wallet. So if you want to get really industrious, you can make more than that if you know a lot of people. But you're limited to 0.5 per wallet at 1.1 BNB per cocktail.
Speaking of that, we do have, you are going to give us a whitelist if you guys want to mint.
Yeah, we're going to.
That's for the cocktail, right?
That's for the cocktail on Monday. We have a whitelist. We have a early entry access, which is an hour before everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're going to give like 20 of those away or something.
So for the guys in the room, I'll make it all there. I will. Let's make it simple. Just go ahead and post in the room that you want whitelist. Put your username, your Telegram username, and your wallet address in the post, and I'll go through and put them all in something and random, and then pick 20 from there.
Yeah, and then also we were going to give away a couple of MKCs to this group and one cocktail NFT to this group. So we got some things to give away.
I like that. And I'm going to also do for the most of the questions that I've seen posted in the room have been answered. So
if you see one right at the bottom that nobody had talked about, somebody obviously looking at the white paper, asking about this. Okay. You're right, Daniel, in your question. The ROI payout game isn't a key component of the project, but it is something we're going to do and experiment with. And the concept behind that is every week, once a week, so it'd be on Saturdays since we're launching. No, it's going to be on Mondays. Every Monday, we're going to spin the wheel, a similar wheel to what we're going to spin here in a minute, that has all of the contracts on it, and randomly select one contract a week that we are going to pay out whatever their ROI difference is up to 3 BNB. So we know like what you put in and what you need to get to ROI. So let's say your ROI, you put in 2 and you've collected 0.75. So then 1.25 is your ROI. We will give you that in BNB and get you your ROI. And we'll do one of those a week, up to 3 BNB.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's just a little.
That's fucking dope. That's dope.
Someone just mentioned that we haven't covered the reinvestment boost yet, percentages yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. Deep people know that's it's a small thing, but it's worth mentioning.
See, these are the people I want asking questions, not the generic questions that I'm being flooded in the room with. I'm ignoring them on purpose, guys, because they're generic and dumb.
Yeah.
Stop wasting time.
Yeah, the reinvestment bonus is a small thing, but it matters. It's a way for you to also potentially increase your boost percentage by redepositing. Every time you redeposit, if you opt to redeposit, you get a 0.01% boost added to your total boost. So like in 10 weeks, that would give you a 0.1 boost. So that's automatic. And again, any of these mechanisms that we have that can earn you boosts on your daily APR, they all still cap at 1.5. Doesn't matter, if you go over 1.5, as we introduce new things in the future, potentially, it's still a 1.5 cap. But some people that, again, like your question about what would I do if I had 1 BNB? Well, I'm going to probably be reinvesting that several times before I think about maybe starting to ROI. And every time I do redeposit that, I'm going to actually increase my boost slightly by 0.01% every time.
Beautiful. I like it. You guys are unmuted. Any questions from the crowd?
Oh, also, I see this question from Deb. There is another project using the Speakeasy name. I didn't find out about this until like a week ago. It's not a particularly popular one, and it's some sort of casino game. I'm not really sure. So the question you're asking, Deb, I think is relative to that. This is not that. This is the Speakeasy project our Speakeasy project is different than that. I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, sure. That's an example of a copy paste question.
Oh, is it?
She's not even paying attention to what project she's in. I'm a mean person.
She might. She might have gone to the wrong place to look at and is looking at the other Speakeasy project. Is what I'm getting. But you never know.
I'm a mean person. Um, anything else you think we should keep in mind?
No, but let's have some fun. I've got a wheel here.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, you can handle all the who gets what. We're going to do the questions that you're going to do, and then, like I said, we're going to do an MKC, and we're going to do a cocktail NFT, and we're going to pick that cocktail NFT at random off of our wheel that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this wheel. The balance here is equal. It's not like the same mint percentages. So, and whatever one comes up, this is the one that you're going to be giving away.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, I don't like that. Never mind. Let's do it again. That's the lowest one. I don't want to do it.
I like that.
Oh, that's a good one. All right. So that's the next to the biggest. So that's an Irish coffee, 0.08 bonus NFT. I will give you, and you can dole that out as you see fit.
Okay. 0.08. Let me write that down. Okay.
Cool.
Let me see. That's pretty. I like it. We're doing two kinds of NFTs, right?
Yeah, we're also going to give away the membership one too, but we don't need to spend. That's only one thing. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure. So one MKC. Okay. You don't have to stick around for that part. I'll do some skidding crap.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, just let me know. I'll send them all. I can either send them directly to the winners if you wanted to send me wallet addresses, or I think for the NFTs I'll do that, and then I'll disperse the one BNB myself. Yeah, right. That makes sense. Yeah, just let me know the wallet addresses for the NFTs, and I'll mint and send them directly to those wallets.
Let me go back and read this again. See how many wallet addresses I need to send you. I'm very slow. If you guys know how to make me faster, let me know, please. I'm still working.
I think it'll be 3 because I think we said we would do 2 MKCs and 1 cocktail, right?
Yes. So 3. Okay.
Yeah.
2 MKCs. So and 1 cocktail. Okay. I can do that. You guys should stick around because you can't win if you're not here. Blah, blah, blah. But unless you guys have any questions, I'm pretty I understand it now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah.
Quick question. The way you just spent the wheel, is that how everybody mints their NFT?
No,
Figure out what they getting?
Okay. No. It's a completely different interface.
Okay. I thought that was dope.
That's just what I'd use for contests. The way it works on the real one is you have to interact with MetaMask or whatever, and once you pay,
is there any visual representation like that? Because people love that gamified stuff.
Man, I've just been wasting money all day. I've just been clicking it.
Yeah, because it's like a slot machine. Like you put the thing in and it spins. I think that would. I think that would make things.
People like that.
People will love that. Like actually, when they click the button to have a little graphic or a little video show up, something representing, and it actually hits what they get with a little sound, and they'll be like,
Yeah, believe me, when I first started the project with Jack, I presented that to him. I built that little wheel myself, and I said, "Can we do this?" And he's like, "No."
No, that's beautiful.
Web3 doesn't work quite like that.
And it was me that was asking about buying all those NFTs. So I was gonna become like the black market king of NFTs. So don't do that. So don't buy like 40, 50.
You can do it. It's risky, but I mean,
there'll be other NFTs in the future. I was just already banking on it. I'm holding these about 6 months.
Yeah,
they're gonna be going for thousands of people.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of it is I mean, it's still a potential play, but because we're never going to offer exactly this again. So we will have other NFT cocktail series, but they will either be more, they will cost more, or their boosts will be less. This is all. This is going to be the best cocktail series we do, but we will do other ones because we need to. We need to keep generating revenue for the protocol. So, so we'll definitely do more, but we're not going to do any that are any better than this.
Okay, yeah. So I'm still mint about 15 of them. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I just had a question and I laughed it away. Damn it.
Oh no.
I like that. Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, no, there are people. I've talked to a couple of people that are planning on doing something similar that are willing to, hold on to them for a while and see what happens.
I remember the question now. On the retail market, the resale tax, like the royalty taxes on that. Is there any?
There is.
Where will they go?
It's a good question. There's a 5% royalty that goes back to the protocol, but goes right into the pot to the reward paying. So that doesn't come to the protocol.
Okay. I like it. I like the idea of every sale going forward, boosting, the liquidity or whatnot.
Revenue generation is king, man. I mean, that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, it's only fair if you're selling it that, you leave some behind.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I am fascinated to see what happens on the secondary market with these. I'm fascinated because there's no way to predict.
I can imagine that you have charts and all that stuff in your room with these little dots pointing with strings everywhere, and I imagine you as a mad scientist, my friend.
It's funny. My girlfriend is on this, listening to this, and I'm sure she's laughing her head off, thinking about your perception of me.
I seriously, I mean it in the most most complimentary way possible. You're my favorite drug dealer. You're my favorite OCD drug dealer that does charts.
Amazing. Thank you.
Hey, Kurt, I do have another question. And
yes,
I want to pick your brain about it. I actually like the idea that the whole once a week you can put in. So if I deposit that one day a week, is my rewards automatically deposited back in too?
No.
With that?
That's a very good question and a good point. Like I had said at one point, you need to remember when your rollover time is, because when the contract unlocks for you after 168 hours, after a week, you must make a decision. The contract is basically paused for you at that point. So you are no longer earning. Nothing's happening. You can still get your money at any time, but nothing is happening. So for instance, if let's say your contract came up on a Friday and it came up and you were gone for the weekend and you didn't get to it until Monday, well, then it would still be sitting there waiting for you Monday. But then when you made your decision and turned it back on again, your new rollover week would be Monday to Monday, and you wouldn't have made any money Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. So if Friday night, 6:00, let's just say, I wanted to deposit new money in, because you're going to need deposit on your open window.
That's correct.
Should I claim? See, this is why I don't want to mess up at. Do I compound first and then do the fresh $1,000 in, or $1,000 in first?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird mechanic, but the way that it works is what you need to do is determine if you're going to want to make a new deposit into the contract, then you'll want to use whatever your reward is as a part of that. So in other words, let's say you had it open unlocked and your reward for that week was 1 BNB. So if you redeposit it, obviously you're redepositing 1 BNB. But let's say, I want to go and put even more in. I want to put 2 BNB in total. Then you would leave the 1 BNB to redeposit and put 1 BNB in the new deposit, totaling 2. And then put that in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So will it deposit for me or do I have to hit deposit again for the 1 BNB then after that? Okay.
Oh no, it's all one. It's one transaction. You'll have to pay 2 gas fees because of the way contracts work.
The way it is.
Yeah, but no, it's all done in one transaction.
And what was y'all? You the first project to say, hey, you can't just add in whenever you want to, which is probably a good thing because you got DJs like me who buy shit off emotion, depending on what I feel that day.
Yeah,
and I'll probably be mad in the morning because I do it all the time.
Yeah,
I just did a project yesterday. I bought it last night, and then I woke up this morning and was like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, what did I do? Did it. Yeah, so, I hear you, and that's kind of, you're right. That's kind of why we're doing it this way. One, we just don't want to take up everybody's life, and people get all like totally anal about their projects, and they sit there and stare at them like watching paint dry. Yeah, like you. And so we want people to have a life outside of the contract. So there's that, but there's also what you're saying, because this is a project where it's a TVL project. So when you hit that button and you put that money back in, you cannot get it back.
Right.
Some people still don't get that. We want to make sure that you're thinking about it. So you're taking action on that yourself and understanding the ramifications of doing that.
May I offer a suggestion to you and your team, sir?
Of course.
Just because I want to make my life easier and I'm lazy and all that stuff. But it would be amazing. I want more projects to do it, but there is this DApp that you can register with, right? You can, when it's time for the user to perform an action, it can actually notify them on their iPhones or Android phones or things like that. So there's stuff like that makes my life so much goddamn easier because I am really super dyslexic and I'm not normal. Anyways,
I love that.
Stuff like that would make my life super easy, and it's really simple for you and your team to do it. All you got to do is apply. Pretty much, but I've posted the links in the room. It's called DeFi notifications. I don't know who the fuck these people are. I'm not getting paid. I don't know who they are. It's just, it makes my life easy because it's awesome. I look at I get a ding, and on my phone it says I have to do something, and I go and do it, and then I don't think about it anymore. And yeah, I really like things like that because thinking is hard. I don't like it.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. I had never even heard of anything like that before. So that's cool.
Yeah, please.
Oh, look, you got it posted somewhere. Or you can put that to me.
I'll DM it to you. But if you can do that for me, my life will be so much easier.
I can't promise, but I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, because I just wish more protocols would do that, because then, I could just get notifications on my phone that I have to compound, that I have to do,
Yeah.
I try. I'm in so many of this crap that it's almost like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
To remember to compound this wallet, that wallet, switch that, switch this, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it'll be a very interesting experiment too for me from a human interface standpoint, because a lot of most projects require that you do something daily. And I always see people complaining about that. So I'll be interested to see what the reaction to this is, because I don't think I've ever seen one that's weekly like this exactly. So I'll be interested to see how people take to it, and whether they like it, or then they just start complaining that they don't remember, or because it's so long between.
Let me give you a spoiler alert. Yes, they're going to complain.
Yeah. Well, yes. Fair enough.
That's it. Spoiler alert. Yes, people will complain, but will it make things better? So what if they complain?
I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm interested to see.
Yeah, beautiful. I think the biggest part for me was that you guys are already coming with something that's already producing income. You could have stopped there.
Yeah, it's pretty important and then pretty unusual. That's for sure.
Yeah, like I said, like that meme. I feel like I was going to Amsterdam, and of all the girls in the window, you were like the perfect one.
And I've got drugs.
Yeah, I'm like walking by with my girlfriend and like, what? How you doing?
Hilarious.
Hey, Kurt, one more question. I know you probably already talked about it. As far as investments,
yeah.
Do you already have different things that you probably want to invest in, or is it EMP just gonna be sole thing?
Well, at this point, it's just EMP. We need to see where the protocol goes from here in terms of how much revenue are we sitting on and what might we want to do with that. I'm not opposed to it, but the only thing that I'm concerned about is, everybody's got their pet project and whatever. So please, not to you personally, but just in general, don't start DMing me projects.
That was my next thing. Is you letting the community decide which? Don't do that.
No.
I went down that route with another project, and they did the same thing, and the community fucked it.
Yeah, no.
Okay, no. Appreciate it. I like what y'all doing, though.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
I think this is going to be controversial, but I don't think there should be democracies in projects because people have dumb ideas, and if they have the power to make it happen, they'll make it happen. So,
well, people make decisions off their pocket. So whatever's gonna make me wealthy first is the idea I want you to do. So if it's sell all of the EMP and put it back into the chart right now, so I can sell out, that's the decision you go pick. And that might not be the best thing to do, but I understand.
Let me review. I see you, Alex Costa. Is there still?
I was just reading that as well.
Okay, let's see. What is he asking? Well, there is no Speakeasy token. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He just wants your NFT, sir.
Oh, okay. Unclear there, Alex.
Any other questions from everybody's unmuted, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. But Kirk, if you do have to go, I do understand.
I can probably hang out for a few bit more if people have questions.
Right, perfect.
I've got
enough. I don't have anything. I don't have a life, sir. So I could lie and pretend I have other things to do, but I don't have a life. And my dog's not even here. Nobody's here. My dog is at the groomers.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
I had a golden in the world.
I had a golden retriever that was so big that everybody thought it was a Great Pyrenees. They would ask, and it was an English cream, so it had that same kind of blondie white hair that most of the Great Pyrenees do. And people go, "Is that a Great Pyrenees?" I'm like, "No, it's just a huge golden retriever."
She is amazing. I'll be honest, I hate dogs. I always did. But for some reason, I love this thing. I don't know what the hell. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm talking baby talk to this thing. I don't know what's happening.
I've always loved dogs. I think they're wonderful. We don't deserve them.
I think my wife did some voodoo or something. It's not my whole thing. I'm OCD about a lot of things, if you couldn't tell, and one of them is about germs and stuff like that. And dogs are just always like, But this one, I even let it kiss me. I don't even know what the hell is wrong with me. Sorry.
Hilarious.
I must be in love or something.
Yeah, anyways. There you go. So I don't know. Is there anybody else that has a question, or are we pretty good at this point?
Yeah. Lawrence, go for it, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I was just going through the white paper, and I found some place where they said that the NFT holders can only earn at most 1.5% reward. Yep. So and also I scrolled further and I found a place where it says that the highest depositor in a day will get a higher reward. And also there's one other place where it says a deposit of 2% of the total pool will give a reward of 2%. Like, I think you can relate with that. So if the rule is that 1.5% is the maximum in a day that an NFT holder can hold, so how is it possible that someone can get 2%, or is it possible that the person who has already got 1.5% can also be the highest depositor in a day?
Are you talking about EMP? I'm not sure.
I'm confused as well.
Are you talking about the EMP, the detonator contract?
Yeah, I'm talking about the EMP and as well as the holders of NFC, the silver membership.
Okay, well, the EMP project completely different from the Speakeasy project. 1.5 daily is the max cap in Speakeasy. That is not necessarily true on the EMP side.
Okay, all right, that makes sense now. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Okay, I think that's it. Anyone else?
Cool.
You've been awesome, man. I appreciate you taking the time. And I know my AMAs are a little bit longer than normal because I don't know. I asked too many questions, I think. But
no problem.
If it makes people feel better, I really do genuinely am trying to understand what you're explaining, because I appreciate the time that you're. I don't want to waste your time. I appreciate.
No, it's been fun. I really appreciate what you're doing here.
Yeah, I try to I try to understand things, because it's better than not understanding.
Usually that's the case. Well, thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate everybody sticking around and learning all about it. And I think everybody knows where they can find us on our Telegram group. Is really the main place right now. You can keep up with everything there, including, if you're interested in participating and you don't win one of the NFTs that we're giving out here, you can come over to the Telegram group and get a link and buy your own MKC. So you can qualify to be a part of the cocktail mint on Monday, and take it from there. And you can, we'll keep you up to date in our Telegram room.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to perhaps we can do this again post-launch.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's do it.
And look at all the money that I've made since then.
Cool. Very cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man.
For stopping by.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
I'll
Bye-bye.
be sticking around.